And today we will be talking about chapters 27 to 30, or chapter 27 to the end of the book, Stand Up Yumi Chung by Jessica Kim. I'm so sad and excited to finish this book because now that I'm sad because, well, I'm finishing this book, right? It makes sense to be sad. But I'm also excited because now I'm going to begin on Make a Move Sunny Park, which is Jessica Kim's next novel, and I've read it, and here's what I think. It's great. So I'm really excited to start that playlist. So at the same time, I'm really sad. I'm also very excited. And so yeah, we should all be patting ourselves on the back for making it this far. And now let's begin at chapter 27. And so in chapter 27, we start off immediately in the halls of Winston Academy. And so I think that this is a really sort of scary place to begin. Winston was this place that, Yumi was always fearing, and now she's actually there. But not for a long time, right? She goes outside really quickly, but still, I sort of had that feeling of tension when I was reading about her at Winston. Now, it seems like the SSAT was really, really hard, right? And I have a question. Do you think that Yumi will have gotten good enough test scores to enter Winston again? Because she does want to go to Pam's, but that's sort of impossible right now, right? Her parents aren't going to listen to her, and she might as well just do good on the test. But still, aside from that, do you think that she'll do good on the test? I mean, she has gone to Mrs. Pack's Hagwon, but still, even if she went there, do you think that she's good enough, or do you think that she's still going to fall short because of all the distractions that came with comedy camp? And if she does fall short, where do you think that she's going to go? Do you think she's going to go to public school, or do you think she's going to go to Pam's? Do you think that her parents are going to allow her to go to Pam's? Because, that's also okay, right? If she can't go into Winston, she can at least go to Pam's, right? That'll make that'll be fair. Now, if you have been Yumi, would you want to get into Winston or not? I don't think I want to get into it. I think that I would. At the same time, no. It's like, if I go to Pam's, I'm pretty sure that Felipe and Sienna are going to be super annoyed at me. And, if I don't go to Winston, there's a big chance that my parents are going to send me to regular public school anyway. But if I go to Winston, at least I'll have a pretty good education. Sure, I will be bullied, but I don't think that life is going to be any easier for her at a public school. Maybe at Pam's, but then again, Felipe and Sienna might not like her. Of course, we've read through these chapters, so we know that they forgive her pretty quickly. But we're trying to think about it at Yumi's point of view at each seat. Okay, so that's how we're going to try to think about it. Also, there were these string of messages from both Felipe and Sienna, right? And Do you think and were you surprised that they were actually texting Yumi? Because at first, they were pretty annoyed at her. So, were you surprised, or were you like, I just expected that? I was actually pretty excited. Not excited. Well, I was excited, but I was pretty surprised. That was what I meant to say. I knew that if, Yumi came to them and apologized, they would eventually forgive her. That was evident. They're nice kids. But I did not expect them to just immediately come to her and ask, like, are you okay? And what happened, right? So, that means that Felipe and Sienna are really good friends. If you had been Felipe or Sienna, do you think that you would have been able to do this, or would you feel tricked and swindled, and would you just be like, she was a terrible kid. She tried to trick me. I think that at first, I would be super annoyed, but after a while, yeah, she was still a pretty good friend, so I think that I would reach out to her. But at first, yes, I would definitely be annoyed, shocked, and angry. Yes. If you have been Yumi, do you think that you would have just immediately called them, or would you still be nervous too? Because it's one thing to just text, it's another to actually respond to read text messages. It's another to just respond with a FaceTime call. Also, do you think Sienna and Felipe are both there, right? And how did you think that they were going to respond? Sure, we saw the texts, but still, they may have hidden some anger in them, and maybe they're annoyed with her for not calling them back. So, surprisingly, it went very well, right? And do you think that with their support, even if Yumi fails, do you think she'll have a very good time at Pam's? Yeah, there's Felipe and Sienna. With them, I think that she'll be able to conquer Pam's. If you have a Yumi and you just told your friends what actually happened, how would you feel? Would you feel like you just, there's a big weight that just came off your shoulders, or would you just be terrified at the response? I think that I would be a bit terrified at the response, but mostly I would feel good for opening up and actually showing my true self, because pretending to be Kay is pretty exhausting. And also, just then, Yumi had this awesome idea to host a stand-up comedy show at her family's restaurant, right? It's sort of crazy, but at the same time, it's cool, right? It's good. It's pretty cool, but do you think that's going to work? I think so, but unless she does some serious advertising really quick, I don't think that's going to work out. It's not like a lot of people will immediately change all of their plans to go to the restaurant. And, yeah, sure, comedy is very popular, but how popular will it be? Will it be able to draw patients in? Customers, sorry. Will it be able to draw customers in? And even so, and if so, yeah, how will they think of Yumi's performance? Sure, it is pretty good, but do you think it'll be good enough to save the restaurant? I think so, because it's nearing the end of the book, and if there isn't a happy ending, I think that people are going to start to riot, and this book will not have the 5-star reviews that it does have. So yes, I do expect that this will work. Do you think that Sienna and Felipe would also join? And do you think that other people besides them could also join? Yeah, there's the other kids from the comedy club. They could probably do it. They could probably also perform, and that will mean even more revenue for the restaurant. And do you think that, but still, how do you think that they're gonna do everything? Because it's sort of obvious that, doing it that day, like that very day, is almost impossible. yeah, I would sort of wait for a week to get the momentum to gather up, distribute flyers, advertise, post it on social media accounts, and sort of, spread awareness about everything. I could tell everybody who came into sight, anybody who would listen, there would be a sign on the door, just anything to draw people in. And maybe by the end of the week, there will be enough people to actually save the restaurant. So, do you think that Jasmine will be able to forgive Yumi for what she did, for sort of lying to her? If you had been Jasmine, would you? I would eventually, because I'm the kind of person who at first I'm really angry, but after a lot of thought, once I reflect, a lot of that anger burns away. Yes, I do admit that at first I am very angry at times, but mostly by the time a few days have passed, I reflect and I draw to more reasonable conclusions. You can say that. So if I were Jasmine Jasper, I would forgive her. Though, of course, yes, I would be still very shocked. If you have Yumi, would you have had the courage to talk to her? I'm not very sure, because this is a big deal. I've never been in that type of situation. I'm mostly the kid who stays out of trouble, stays out of that type of stuff, and keeps safe. I'm not the type of kid. I'm not the type of kid who does big things like this. I don't have the guts to do that. I'm gonna admit that. I don't have the guts to do that, to do what Yumi did. So I wouldn't really be in this situation, but if I had the guts to do that, I think that I would have at least the guts to talk to Jasmine Jasper. I mean, it's inevitable. If Yumi should at least apologize to her hero, and Jasmine Jasper is pretty nice, so I think that she will forgive Yumi. And so, do you think that even if the relationship between Felipe and Sienna is 100% restored, it already is sort of, and then Jasmine Jasper forgives Yumi, do you think that the relationship between Yumi and her parents will be fully restored? Because there's still a lot of tension between them, and it's just not and it's really hard to live with that tension, because Yumi is going to be with them for 7 or 8 years. I mean, I guess 7 or 6 years, and if there was a lot of tension, that's bad, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that in the end they will come to agreements, but before that, yeah, how do you think that they're gonna come to agreements? Eventually, gradually, I don't know, as slow as a glacier. And if you've watched wildlife documentaries like me, you know how slow glaciers move. Or do you think that with this new save, Yumi's parents are going to recognize the value of comedy and the value of their daughter's dreams? What do you think? Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think that's not quite going to happen? I think that's going to happen. Also, I was pretty surprised that Jasmine was really good at the apologizing part, right? And I think that even if Yumi's parents don't fully forgive her yet, I do think that most of Yumi's life has sort of been fixed and repaired, and that's really great. And now, right after that, Jasmine Jasper is going to contact basically everybody who knows her, and that's a lot of people, to go to Chung's barbecue, right? And with her on the job, what do you think the turnout will be? I think that it's going to be enormous. And finally, will this save the restaurant or not? Now, on to chapter 28. Okay, so did you think that that Yumi's parents are going to be on board because, you know, they're sort of conservative, so they're not really used to social media, and, you know, they're not really used to the fact of comedy. I mean, they don't really like comedy, and maybe they won't like comedy intruding into their lives. So how did you think that their response was going to be? It was surprisingly good, right? Yeah, I think that this is going to be, I think that in the end, maybe they're becoming a bit more agreeable because this time they actually respect and think about their daughter's decision. That's progress. Or do you think that this is just because they're in a really big crisis and they really don't have any other choice? What do you think? Well, I mean, it might be, there's a chance that it definitely might be the second option. Okay, and now, and also one last thing, you know, they have to make $6,000, right? They have to make $6,000, and there's a lot of pressure for Yumi to do everything right? But do you think that she will? Like, you know, Yumi has shy girl problems, so in the end, do you think that she will be able to speak in front of all of these people? She has some stage fright, and yeah, do you think that she will be able to master her fright, and do you think she'll rock at her performance, or do you think that she'll just freeze up? What do you think? And finally, let's go on to the actual event. And when you were reading this, what were you thinking? Were you thinking, this is the best plan ever? Or were you thinking, poor Yumi, nobody's gonna turn up, and this is going to be a miserable ending? Well, considering that there's only 2 chapters left, I'm hoping that this will be a very nice ending, because if so, I don't know how the author, Jessica Kim, could fit in another solution to the book in only about 20 pages. Considering that we're almost at the end of the book, this has got to work. If not, this book will be a tragedy. And now one thing, so, you know, at first, friends begin to show up, right? A lot of people are showing up, and so this is good. Like, even if they're like, meh, the comedy's boring, a lot of people still showed up, so there is a big chance that the $6,000 will be made anyway. And if so, Chung's barbecue will survive to see another week, or another day, sorry. Well, yeah, and also another day, hopefully. Another week, hopefully. Finally, I want to cut right to the part when there's K, right? With K, because, you know, I mean, I'm only going to talk about the important parts, and this is a really important part. If you haven't K, how would you have felt? I mean, this kid pretended to be her and took her spot. I mean, like, what do you think? Well, it didn't really harm me, right? And Yumi still paid for the camp, right? It didn't really harm Kay, but still, how would you feel if somebody took your identity and under your identity did a lot of stuff with it? I mean, like, for example, let's say that, I don't know, I'm just gonna assume that your name is Robert Miller, okay? If you're a girl, then, I don't know, okay, just Robert Miller. Let's say that your name is Robert Miller. If your name was Robert Miller and I said, hey everyone, my name is Robert Miller, and I'm gonna assume that you are from Detroit, Michigan. So I'm like, hey everyone, I'm Robert Miller from Detroit, Michigan. And if so, and then after that, I did a lot of stupid stuff, right? Let's think about it. I vandalized stores, I stole stuff, I shoplifted, whatever, right? So I did all those bad things, and then I just run off, right? Soon, you're gonna come, the actual Robert Miller, and, you know, you'll be arrested because, you know, I did a lot of bad stuff under your name. It's like, you know, if you also want another example of that, go to Diary of a Wimpy Kid. If you read through the series, you're gonna come across a similar scenario. So yeah, basically like that, right? So if you have a K, would you have been able to forgive Yumi? Yeah, because Yumi's nice. And Yumi also Yumi is nice, and besides, it doesn't seem like Yumi tarnished Kei's reputation and name at all. So I wouldn't be very annoyed, though at first I would be a bit cold, but soon I will come around. I'm that type of person. I'm a bit cold at times, but mostly I come around. Okay, now, do you think that Kei and Yumi will also become friends after everything that has happened? And things are going out really well, but the most important part is the comedy. That's still ahead of them. So, yeah, do you think it will work out? And finally, we realize, both Yumi and the reader, that Yumi's mother has been spying on her when she's practicing, right? And if you have been Yumi, would you have been mortified, or would you have been just really happy that, you know, your mother still sort of appreciates you and sort of still looks out and sees what happens? I mean, like, the fact that her mother didn't barge into the room and yell, "Hands up! Go back to studying." That means something, right? So yeah, what would you think? I would be half mortified, but mostly I'd be happy that my mom didn't interrupt me. So yeah, I think that I like that about her mom. So yes. Now, and finally, the comedy show starts, right? And now already, Yumi at the beginning, she sort of freezes up, right? There's this moment of tension. Will she be able to plow on, or will she be stuck? Do you think that she'll run off the stage? What did you think? I knew that Yumi could go on, and she did do it, right? And finally, she begins to talk, and she lets out her true self out, right? And so, have you ever had that type of situation? You were really, really worried about something, but when that moment actually came, you just blasted it out of the water. You were really good. Finally, after everything happened, were you still worried that they hadn't gotten to their goal? I wasn't. I mean, like, surely Jessica Kim wouldn't add another barrier. And sure enough, they actually made $1,214.31 more, which is awesome, right? And if things begin to turn around for the business, you know, Yumi performs more stand-up comedy acts and routines, and finally they've paid off all of their debt. Do you think that Chung's Barbecue is going to become more popular? It doesn't seem like they're going to have to move to San Jose after all, right? And finally, do you think that after this, Yumi's parents are going to appreciate comedy? Yes, I do think so. Chapter 30 starts out pretty sadly as Yuri goes to Nepal, right? Do you think that this is going to be a good opportunity for her? Maybe she'll actually find her true self, what she really wants to do. Maybe she wants to help people. Maybe she wants to teach. Maybe she changes her mind and maybe she's going to be an engineer. She could be anything, right? So do you think that that in the end she's also going to come back once more, or do you think that she's going to keep being part of the World Peace Corps or well, I think that's the name, but if I'm wrong, I'm very sorry. But you know, the organization that Yuri's now part of. So finally, so I'm really gonna say, you know, that in the end, Yumi did not go to Pam's, meaning that she didn't really unite with Felipe or Sienna. That was actually sort of sad. I sort of didn't like that because I was like, God, she should have gone to Pam's. But at least her parents now respect what she does. And Also, it's really impressive that she got in, right? That's really good, right? She's really, and maybe after this, Yumi is different from the end of the school year. She's a different person. And I think that because of that, she'll be able to go through Winston much more easily. Also, did you expect Yumi to pass? Yeah, of course I expected her to pass. I mean, she's a genius, of course. So yeah, I really did expect her to pass. And I'm really excited. If Jessica Kim ever decides to write another book, I am really excited to see how Yumi turns out, because I really do think that she is going to be really successful in Winston. She is, 100%. And also, Yumi isn't afraid of Winston anymore. Did that ever happen to you? You know, you were afraid of something, you thought about it, you grew, and then suddenly, wow, you're not afraid of it anymore. And now I really like the last two paragraphs. Even I'm surprised that Winston no longer scares me. After scheming the entire summer to get out of returning, I realized that it wasn't Winston itself that was holding me back. It was my fear of it. I imagined myself walking through Winston's halls, and I know this year will be different because I'm not the same person I was last year. I'm ready to be heard, and I don't need to go to a new school for that, because no matter where I go, I'm still going to get my new beginning, my fresh start as the true me. So that really resonated with me. First, it was really inspirational. I really liked it how it ended, but also, there was a lot of references to like the old me and the old me, right? To the old me and the to the new me. But I really like the true me. I think it sounds the best, and I really like how Jessica Kim did that. So very good job, Jessica Kim. I really enjoy stand-up Yumi Chung. Okay, so we finished the book. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions. First, what did you think about it? In the end, what did you think about it? Were you satisfied with the ending? Would you have liked it better if Yumi had gone to Pam's? And finally, do you expect a sequel or not? I mean, these are one of the books that could just become a standalone. So I don't expect a sequel, but yes, I am really excited to know what happened to Yumi in the future. And finally, do you think that Yumi will grow up to become a stand-up comedian, like a professional stand-up comedian, or do you think that she's going to become something else but still embrace comedy? What do you think? Well, whatever you think, I hope that you had a great time reading and thinking about stand-up Yumi Chung, this amazing book by Jessica Kim. To check out more about Jessica Kim, well, I'm making a new playlist all about Jessica Kim's next book, which was released about Jessica Kim's second book, released in August 2023. Make a Move, Sunny Park. It was amazing. It was really great, and I really enjoyed reading it. So I'm really excited about talking about it with you on my YouTube channel. Bye, and have a great rest of your day.